See. Okay. Hello, everyone. So yeah, I wanted to start this live stream today to talk about all the announcements of this past week. It was a really exciting week for gaming and, in particular, farming games. So today I want to talk about Harvest Moon, The Winds of Anthos, and then the two untitled Story of Seasons games that got announced, but neither of those titles have actual titles. So yeah, one of them is just going to be a multiplayer game. And then that one, I guess, is supposed to be kind of maybe it'll be like a spin-off, I'm guessing. Um, I'm particularly worried that that game's going to end up being a mobile game. Oh, hello. Um, yeah, hello, Be Wicked. So yeah, I'm really worried that the spin-off game is going to be a multiplayer mobile game. But some people have been saying that it might be like Stardew Valley, where it's still a console game, but it just has multiplayer features. Oh, good morning. Yeah, my time zone, it's already 12:30. So, but yeah, I guess like I'm technically like Eastern America. But yeah, I guess in a live stream, it could be anybody from anywhere over the world. um, so yeah, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that they're going to make it into a mobile game, or do you think it's going to be a console game? Because I mean, I do a little bit of mobile gaming, but I vastly prefer on console. On one of my previous videos, I actually did say that I would love like a Harvest Moon meets Animal Crossing type game. Because Animal Crossing is multiplayer game, but it's still a console and there's still like a really good single player. I'm thinking it will be mobile. Yeah, that's my fear as well. I actually never even played the Animal Crossing mobile game. Probably mobile. I imagine there will be a Switch version though. Yeah, so even if it is mobile, like first, hopefully it also is on home consoles. Technically, even like Stardew Valley is mobile because you can get it on iPhone and things like that. Fingers crossed for console. Yeah, I feel like anytime any developer announces a mobile game, everyone is always like, okay, is it also going to come to consoles? I was not a big fan of the Animal Crossing mobile. Yeah, I didn't even try Animal Crossing mobile. I mean, I watched like the initial trailers for it, but then I was kind of like, I don't know, microtransactions. I don't know if it's just me personally, but I'm okay with like a season's pass if there's going to be like consistent content. But I hate it when there's like a bunch of microtransactions or you have to pay money to get loot boxes, that type of thing. I'm hoping the multiplayer would be like a co-op story type game. Yeah, I would like that as well. If there's like a co-op story and yeah, I'm just worried that they're going to take out a lot of the aspects of Story of Seasons that make it Story of Seasons, like being able to marry an NPC. The Animal Crossing game got boring real quick. Yeah, I mean, I played Animal Crossing New Horizons for like over 100 hours. And I even got the DLC for Animal Crossing because like I'm okay with DLC and seasons passes, but microtransactions, it's a no for me. So as soon as I saw like the deeper trailers for the Animal Crossing mobile, I was just like, no thanks. So it'll be interesting to see if Story of Seasons also goes down that route. But yeah, I don't want to have to pay to like grow extra crops or get certain special things. I guess maybe they would probably do it where it's like everything's time based, maybe, and then you pay more money to like get your house upgraded quicker or something. It would be cool to like play with a friend and have them be a rival marriage candidate. It seems like me and all of our view and all the viewers here, it's like we all really want rival marriages to come back, no matter no matter how we do it. But yeah, I also actually when I made my rival marriages video, I was kind of like 50-50 on rival marriages. But yeah, as more time has gone on and I've thought about it, like I really wish they would come back. I wish we'd gotten rival marriages in A Wonderful Life, the remake. I think it would have made the game so much better if there were rival marriages, and then the other people in the town, they also had kids. I mean, all they'd have to do is just make up new kids who also raised up. Even if there was just like even just one other couple got married and had a kid, I think that would be cool. Like, if you're the farmer and then there's another farmer in the town who also, gets married and then has a kid. I don't think it would have been that difficult for them to have added that in. Um, so yeah, for a multiplayer game, if they make it a mobile story of seasons game, it'd be interesting to see if they still have marriage at all. But yeah, obviously, I'm really hoping that they do. Yes, that would have been an amazing and a wonderful life. Yeah, exactly. I think with their remakes, they try to be faithful to the originals, and I feel like sometimes that works. But yeah, sometimes I just wish they would add new things. Me personally, maybe this is a crazy idea, but I wish that like the games that came back on the Nintendo Switch Online service, like Pokemon Snap, things like that. I would love it if they added even content to like those, and then they could like have the two different versions you could choose. So like if we could go back to Pokemon Snap and play new levels or something like that, I would absolutely love that. And yeah, with A Wonderful Life, I was kind of hoping that they would at least have like two different difficulties or two different maybe like a more traditional version and then like a more mixed up version. But unless they edit that in a patch or something like that, I'm probably not going to get that either. um, Also, the one thing that I didn't talk about that I was later thinking about in my last video about String Seasons games is that I feel like this means we're not going to be getting any DLC for A Wonderful Life, which makes me really sad. But if they were going to announce DLC for A Wonderful Life, I think they would have done it at that event that they just had. So I think them announcing these two new games is also them kind of saying like, "Hey, don't be expecting any animal or animal. Don't be expecting any Another Wonderful Life DLC." Oh, I still have my GameCube with A Wonderful Life and Another Wonderful Life, but it would be nice for Nintendo to add the old ones. Yeah, I mean, even I have some of the older Harvest Moon games. But yeah, it's really annoying. At least I personally think it's really annoying to have to set them up and set up my old consoles or like switch it. I'd rather just have everything on the Switch. Um, so yeah, I'd love to see Super Nintendo, Harvest Moon 64, all of those good titles come on the Nintendo Switch Online. Def agree. Yeah, I really would. I really would like to see like a lot of the old titles come to the Switch. I also feel like they could do like a compilation. I am fine with the core game being true to the originals, but I do think they should make DLC or expansions. The Wonderful Life remake having the valley that only passes time is lame. Yeah, I remember we were all so excited about that valley, and we were all like hypothesizing, oh, what's going to happen when you go to the valley, and then it ends up being nothing. There's so much money, so much more they could have done with it. Yeah, I was so disappointed when we got the game because they didn't even announce before release what it was going to be. Um, so yeah, I mean, I guess that's why some things in the remake like that they could have been better. That being said, I do sometimes use that time skip, especially like when I was doing content and I wanted to like get to certain time periods faster. It was kind of helpful that you could go to the valley, skip ahead some time, and then do the rest of the things in your day. Um, but yeah, they could have done so much more with the valley. But yeah, also they changed the whole sleeping. I was gonna say like the sleeping schedule. In the old game, it used to be like you could sleep and like take naps and things like that. But for some reason, they decided to take that out and then change it to the valley to pass forward in time. I don't know. I don't know what the developers were thinking when they were doing that roundabout. Hey, let's have the valley just be an empty time suck. Okay, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Uh, I am also curious to see if they make any changes to the game versus the Japanese version to the American one, because they did have a lot of time. So it sounds like if they wanted to change something, then they probably would have time to change it. Although obviously, I don't think they would change anything that big, but it'd be cool to see them do something like that. Imagine not trying it out until the end of the first year and you miss out on marrying the game just because it ends after 6 hours pass. Mm. Yeah. Um, so yeah, I didn't really play the original Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life so much. Um, it's funny because like I was really looking forward to it when it came out, but yeah, it was just so difficult. At least for the younger me. Although actually recently I've been playing Harvest Moon One World, and the one thing that I always keep thinking as I'm playing it is I'm just like, who is this game for? Because it's actually really hard. I don't know if anybody who is watching this right now, if you played One World, but it is so hard. I don't understand because like the dialogue, it's kind of like simpler. It's kind of like they're going for like that younger audience. But then when you're actually playing the game, it's actually really difficult. Like there's two areas where like you have to eat certain food so that you can be hot or cold. Otherwise, your character is going to pass out really quickly. There's a bunch of different areas where you can plant your crops, and if they don't grow well, then you can't complete the quest to continue on in the game. Just running brings your stamina way down. Um, yeah, One World is hard, but I actually got into like sounds like me in real life. Yeah, running is really hard. Oh, hello. Um, but yeah, so my current playthrough of One World, I'm just like, it is so difficult. And so I've been playing One World because I want to know. I'm actually going to be making a video where it's like things in One World and then how they might be changed into the Winds of Anthos. If it's too hot or too cold, I'll need food or I'll pass out. I never played that, but sounds like child me would rage quit. Yeah, this is actually there's another video that I was thinking about making a long time ago about how I hate it when developers they put like anti-gamer things into their games. One World has a lot of that. I played this game Gleaner Heights. If any of you have ever heard of that, where yeah, there's a bunch of bad things that can happen to you, and it's like why why are you making this game where so many things can go wrong and there's so many things that are going to go against you having fun in this game? Because in One World, your pets can die, all the livestock can die. I really hope they improve on One World and fix the issues. I despised it. Yeah, this is actually the fourth time. The fourth time I've tried to play One World. I'm currently farther. I just got to the point that I got to the last time I gave up. So I really want to like fight through it and get married. I'm like near the end of summer of the first year, and I've just gotten to like the second mine. But yeah, it's hard. And so it's not like a game that were like, even if you don't like it, you can just kind of like truck along with it. Like, no, they're going to put like obstacles in your path. Um, I would love if the NPCs would also move their own lives. Yes. So yeah, like I said, I'm gonna make a whole video about all the things that I hope they change from One World to Winds of Anthos, and that's also one of them. It's like you're playing the game, and then it's like the characters just like fade in and fade out, and then there's a whole bunch of This is the number one thing that I don't understand as well. Is like, so there's the main characters who are all named, which is usually like the marriage candidates and then their family members. Then there's some other characters who are like not really important at all, but they also have names. But then there's a third set of characters who they're just called like shopkeeper or something random and weird like that. Hello, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So yeah, I don't know why there's three types of NPCs, like named and important, named but still not important, and then not even important enough to get a name. So those are all things that they could definitely improve upon in the Winds of Anthos. Because yeah, the one in One World, I almost think there's maybe too many NPCs. Because if you think about how many villages there are, and then how many people are in each town, there's actually a lot of characters, and I think it was probably a little bit too much. So they weren't able to give everyone a name. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that changes in the Winds of Anthos. So yeah, I hope the NPCs they don't just magically appear and disappear. I hope all of them are named, and I'd actually prefer fewer, but they're all named and they'll have at least a little bit of like personality. um, so yeah, those are my hopes for the Winds of Anthos so far. But yeah, I mean, I made a video a long time ago about how getting married in One World is kind of like a challenge run because they make marriage like so late in the game, and you have to do so much to get married. It's not too much to ask. I would like voiced NPCs. Ooh. Um, yeah, see, this is why I'm still waiting for like a big AAA developer to also make like a farming game where yeah, they actually voice everyone. I personally I loved Harvestella, but yeah, that game also would have been improved with voiced NPCs. I feel like of everybody that I've seen on YouTube, I'm probably like Harvestella's like number one fan. I made videos before it released. I made videos after it released. If they did DLC, I'd make videos on those. Like I loved Harvestella, but yeah, they really needed to have that voiced. Rockstar would make a great farming game. Okay, how about Nintendo? When is Nintendo gonna make a farming game? I feel like maybe if they hadn't made Animal Crossing, they probably would have made a farming game by now. Um, I mean, I love Animal Crossing. I'm not going to say anything bad about it, but I wish Nintendo would also do a farming sim. Playing through Harvestella now. Oh, I hope you're enjoying it. I did not understand any of the backlash to Harvestella. Like, I thought it was crazy because to me, it's like the game looks beautiful. The farm stuff is a little bit on the simplistic side, but I liked it. And like the combat is simple, but it's really fun. And the characters all have like really deep backstories, and there's so many cool characters in it. And the quests are actually kind of fun. Yeah, I'm so hooked. Yeah. Yeah, I loved Harvestella. I really hope that they make a sequel to it. Hope they make DLC. Like, I really hope that they don't just, one and done it. And then like, so I was even like following the sales of Harvestella, and like it did okay. Like it wasn't like a, super great, but it wasn't super bad either. I'm 100% with you. I love it. Yeah, I absolutely love it. Backlash might have been by how fast time passed out. Yeah, I do think the demo was a bit harder than the game ended up actually being. But I mean, come on, like that's why you have demos. But yeah, I do think that turned some people off from the beginning. And I do know a lot of farming fans. It seems like they don't like any type of combat. They don't like that aspect. So it was a little bit of a hard sell from the get go. Also, I do think Harvestella, it was kind of hard to like market it in the correct way. But I mean, it was Square Enix's first attempt at a farming sim. And I do feel like it's more like JRPG where you also run a farm as opposed to like farming sim first. But yeah, it would be really interesting to see if they make a second Harvestella game. Also, that person who's playing Harvestella, I hope you also like the ending, because for me, anyway, I was like blown away by the ending and then like some of like the Easter eggs towards the end of the game. So you also have that to look forward to. Like it's rare that I play a game and I just feel like, wow, my mind has been blown. Japanese soap opera. Yeah, it is more JRPG than farming sim, but I loved it. I loved Harvestella. Okay, I think I missed. Nintendo has a money, so they need to hire some voice actors for their games as well. Yeah, I don't know why so many games nowadays they get away without having like almost any voice acting. It's like we've had voice acting since the PS2, so it is not a limitation of the Switch. Like it would be really interesting to play a Harvest Moon or Story of Seasons game that was fully voice acted. Oh my gosh, I just had an idea. What if the Winds of Anthos is going to be fully voiced, and that's why they haven't released a trailer yet? If they were the first ones to do full voice acting, I would be shocked. One World was horrendous. Yeah, I was just saying, like this is my my first like attempt at getting to the end of One World. Yeah, there's too much open space in One World. How did they have a rapper gym trainer in Scarlet Violet? And it's just a wall of text. Yeah. I was so disappointed with Scarlet and Violet for so many different things. But yeah, that game would have been so much better with voice acting as well. But yeah, I've seen some people say that like they still enjoyed Scarlet Violet, like regardless of all the glitches. But sorry, there's like a plane. But yeah, for me, Scarlet and Violet, like if you saw my most recent video, I'd say it's like the third on the Switch for me. I really thought that it was going to be better than at least Let's Go. but so many glitches, so many like small issues here and there. I just didn't click with me. um, yeah, and so for me, it was Scarlet and Violet. Like once I completed the main story, I was just like, okay, I'm done with this. Which it is kind of sad because I do feel like the story in Scarlet and Violet is actually a little bit better than a lot of the other Pokemon games. But those glitches and no voice acting, it was just unforgivable. Yeah. I didn't even get Scarlet Violet because of the reviews. Yeah, you did not miss anything. Actually, the only Pokemon game on the Switch that I would like 100% recommend that you get is Arceus, Pokemon Legends Arceus. Like when I played that game, I was like, dang, this is the one. And then like if you're a Pokemon fan, I do feel like you should play Let's Go as well. But even with Let's Go, I feel like it was a little bit like I wish they'd done just a little bit more, just a little bit. Like if Pokemon Let's Go had the Fire Red like extras after it was finished, then I also would recommend it 100%. But Let's Go, it just feels a little bit too short. Same, I do a lot of quality assurance for work. I don't need a glitchy mess for fun. Yeah, I could not believe how glitchy Scarlet and Violet was. Like shocking. The thing I thought was funny though was that I'd seen previews of Scarlet and Violet, and it was like, they actually invited people to go to the Pokemon Company to play the game. And then like they were all talking about how great it was, and you didn't get to see any glitches, you didn't see any like, frame rate drops, you didn't see any of that. And then the game comes out and it's a mess. Really disappointing. Let's Go, I agree, it needed just a little bit something. Yeah, I really loved the gameplay of Let's Go, and so it kind of makes me sad that after Pokemon Let's Go, they just ditched that whole like train of thought. I do think if they'd made another Let's Go game, it probably would have been even better. But yeah, obviously the Pokemon Company does not have the resources. They're just a poor indie developer. They don't have the money to make their games better. The glitches made for great comedy content on YouTube. Yeah, well, for me, yeah, it's kind of funny to see it like once or twice, but then when you're actually trying to just play the game and have a good time, like it really sucks you out of it. At least for me, like I couldn't take it. Between that and the recent Pokemon Go drama, it hurts my little 90 kid's heart. But they beefed up switches at the headquarters. I have actually heard that maybe sometimes like like even if they develop it from the ground up on the Switch, then maybe like they might have still done it on a PC first. So it could have been that they were actually secretly playing on a PC instead of an actual Switch, or it could have been the new Switch 2. But yeah, like the videos that I'd seen of Scarlet and Violet getting the previews, it was like they all got like flown to the Pokemon headquarters, and then it was like they were only allowed to film certain things, and they were really like hush hush on it. And I feel like now that the game's come out, like everybody kind of knows why. They didn't want any of that negative press before the game came out. And I was so excited. Like I went to GameStop. I was there waiting in line to get the game. Like I did everything. So playing it then, I was just like, oh my gosh, can't believe all these glitches. I haven't played Pokemon since the Diamond remake. Ooh, Diamond. Yeah, I have all of the mainline Pokemon games on the Switch, and for me, yeah, Diamond and Pearl, that's not the one. It was that windmill animation for me. Yeah, and it's funny because like I am not the type of person to be like I hate frame drops. Like I usually don't care about that type of thing. But playing Violet and Scarlet, like the frame drop rates are just ridiculous. For me, it was like there's a scene where you're training with you're in class, and then the classmates, their hands are just like they're just all like this, like the whole time. And it's just like, why? Even in a cutscene, like a cutscene, can't you just like put like a video there instead of actually using like the poor engine? It's ridiculous. They were like, if there is a glitch recorded, it will be slapped and needed out of your footage. Ooh, yeah. I mean, I guess that's like, for those bigger YouTubers, that's like a plus and a minus. Is like if the developer's working with you, then they're also probably going to have you sign a contract where it's like you can't do this, that, and the other. So yeah, there's obviously pluses and minuses to them, giving you free opportunities. It was a mainland game too. If it was a Zelda released game, that's the yeah. Somebody had also told me that. Well, yeah, I saw that meme where it was like Zelda games, and it was like one at launch and then one just now, and both of them are like great games. And then you look at the Pokemon, they've released like 5 games in the time span. There's only been 2 Zeldas, and like you can really tell that like they spend a lot more time on the Zelda games than the Pokemon games, which is kind of sad. I do think that like Pokemon Legends Arceus, they did spend more time on that one. I think because it was like a side title, so it was like they were able to put more time into it. Which, if that's the case, then for me, like the next Legends game, I'm going to be there day one to get it. But the next mainland title, I don't know. I I think I might pass it if they're not putting enough effort into it. But also for me, I got Pearl and Diamond. I got Pearl and Diamond like for $30, so like half off. So I don't think it sold like as well as they were anticipating it to. So hopefully they'll learn. Like if the quality is not as good, it's not going to sell as much. I'd much rather wait for a solid game than a rushed, glitchy game coming from a Sims player. Yeah, I'm also the same way. That's why like I've always tried to not play games that are in like early access and just wait until they get more polished and then play them. Recently, I've been debating if I should like there's a couple games that I think are kind of still early access. Like I'm still debating like if I should play them or not because there are a couple of indies that are like in the in that phase right now, and I kind of want to try them. But yeah, I don't know if I should wait longer or jump in. If they abandon the legend stuff, it'll be a big mistake. Yeah, I mean, I think they probably at least listen to fan feedback at least a little bit. So hopefully the next game will be more like Arceus and less like Scarlet and Violet. Which ones? Well, Coral Island I've talked about on the channel a few times. And they just recently released like a mermaid NPC, and I was like, "Ooh, that looks really interesting." And then the whole like, hello, Luke the Goon. So yeah, Coral Island, I've always been really interested in it, and I just keep waiting for it to leave early access. So yeah, that's one game. There's also a game called like Mysteria, Fields of Mysteria, I think it is. That game's like about to be in early access. I mean, if they listened to fan feedback, we would have had another evolution by now. Yeah, they're probably So with Pokemon Company, they probably don't really listen to fan feedback that much. I'm trying to think. There was one other indie game that is in early access that I wanted to try. Oh, well, there's another. The other big one is the Disney Everlight Valley or whatever they call it. Because that game, it was like, okay, they're probably going to release it in early access for like a few months, and then the official release will come. But that game was released, I'm pretty sure it was like September of last year, and now it's already freaking May. So it's been, in early access for like, what, 8 months at least? Dreamlight Valley. It has consumed my soul. But yeah, so I keep waiting for Dreamlight Valley to go like free to play so that way anybody can play it and you don't have to buy like a season's pass. But it's gonna be like that meme where the person keeps waiting and they turn into a skeleton. It's definitely been a wait for me, waiting for Dreamlight Valley to become like a full-fledged game. Although I do bet like by the time it becomes like it comes out of early access, it's probably just gonna be like a bunch of microtransactions, and they'll have figured out exactly how to like squeeze the most amount of money out of you they can. So, but I do think Dreamlight Valley looks really good though. You're not wrong. One of the other YouTubers that I watched, she was saying that well, I don't know, like, because like a lot of YouTubers, they'll do like clickbait titles, and she made one where it was like, this update ruined Dreamlight Valley. So I don't know if that's actually true or not, but I definitely saw that thumbnail. Yeah, very curious how they will handle the move to free to play. I'm actually almost a little bit scared that they're just never going to make it into free to play. They probably realized like, okay, we're getting people to buy this game for like $30 or $20. So why don't we just keep, keep raking in this money and we'll just never make it free to play. Or they're just waiting so long that they're like, okay, nobody else is going to pay money for this game. It's time to release it to free to play. I also heard that like right now, Dreamlight Valley, it's not like when you play it on different multiple platforms, like it might not like does your data go to the different platforms? They already have microtransactions for some decor and clothing with the moonstones, and they def got my money. Yeah, I try not to do those microtransactions games. Or like I'll just play them and I'll just be like, okay, I'm gonna be free to play. But then yeah, sometimes some of the free to play games like they get me as well. I'll spend a little bit of money on them. I think it does have cross platform save. Well, that's good. So then I could like play on Switch and PC stuff like that. So yeah, I guess we'll see if that ever becomes a true free to play game. So I wonder, like the Story of Seasons multiplayer game, if it'll also go free to play or if if you'll actually have to pay to get it. I've heard Switch is pretty glitchy, but PC has been solid for me. Yeah, that's also part of the reason why I didn't get it. I prefer playing on Switch usually, but yeah, I don't like it if it's too glitchy or like if the Switch version is like inferior to the other versions. So yeah, I wasn't sure where I should play Dreamlight if I play it. I just recently though, like I've bought a few games on Steam, and I've been playing them on my Mac. But yeah, I'm still mostly a Switch player. So it'd be nice if there's cross-platform saves in Dreamlight. So yeah, this stream we're supposed to be talking about the new Story of Seasons. I play games on my PC, Switch, or Xbox One, depending on what game it is. Yeah, for me, I don't have PS5 or Xbox Series. Honestly, for me, like there's no strong like games that are like pulling me to either of those systems. Also, if it's just cheaper to just have one console anyway. And like I feel like the Switch has like so many good games that like I never feel like, oh, there's no game that I want to play. Are we dragging that trailer? Oh yeah, we haven't talked about that. I'm not sure what you guys' thoughts were on that trailer, but for me, I saw that trailer and especially the first time I watched it. What trailer? So, there was the Marvelous Showcase, and I'll be honest with you guys, like I just fast forward the showcase up until they started showing Story of Seasons, and I was like, okay. And then I started at the beginning, where it's like they're building you up to be hyped about Story of Seasons. So in the trailer, it's like they're showing all of the past games, and they're all like flying by you, and then it zooms in to like, okay, now this is the new game. And then it looks like Pioneers of Olive Town with slightly upgraded graphics. Like all of the farm animals, their designs look like they just took the Pioneers of Olive Town designs and like beefed them up a little bit. And then they just show you like the 4 seasons on your farm, and then it ends. I made it. Hey, how's it going? She says she'll join the chat when she gets home. Okay, so yeah, then it's like you see the 4 seasons, and then that's it. Yeah, it was very bare bones. Yeah, and so when I was watching it, I was just like, why? Well, first of all, why are they announcing the game right now? Like Story of Seasons, A Wonderful Life is just about to come out. It's going to come out like a month from today. And so it's a really weird time to be announcing that they're working on another Story of Seasons game. And they didn't really have anything to show us except for, a few farm animals on the farm. I got excited, but then it was like, where's the rest moment? Yeah, like I wanted at least show us the farmer, at least show us like the mayor, at least show us like one human. Like show us something or show us something different as well. Like if you're only going to show the animals, okay, like at least have there be like a new animal. Like like the Winds of Anthos, they show us that we can raise. Oh, thank you. Yeah, like at least show us at least show us like an owl or like a new animal that we can raise on our farm. But the fact that it was just like there's nothing, you know. So yeah, me personally, I was really disappointed with the Story of Seasons, with the Story of Seasons trailer. And then the second Story of Seasons game that they announced, which was just like artwork. I guess some people were excited about the artwork one because it was like it was a graphics showcase event. Well, the second Story of Seasons game, we didn't even get a graphics. We didn't even get any graphics from the game, just two. I also thought it was funny that like the artwork they showed, they just showed like the same couple of screens, but they just like zoomed into different areas to try to make it seem like there was a little bit more content. Because I went back and I watched those two trailers at least 4 times. Because the first time I was like, yeah, like somebody else here said, where is it? So I went back and I was like, okay, I must have missed something. I must have missed something. So I went back to the beginning, watched it again. I was like, okay, this is a really weird announcement. I still don't get it. And I had to go back and watch it a third time. And then I was like, okay, guess I got to make a video and have my thoughts out there. And then, yeah, that fourth time I watched it, that's the take that I did and I made a video on. Just showed generic farm animals. Yeah, to me, it was just the strangest announcement ever. Like, we've had those animals in every other game that we've played. And like to me, I'm just like, of course, if it's a sequel, the graphics are going to be getting better. Like, why? Because like when the guys are talking about it, they're like, yeah, in this game, we're going to focus more on the graphics. That's a good idea. Falconry would be a nice addition to the genre. Yeah, so like even if they've just shown farm animals, like at least show us something new. Don't just show us the same animals that we've been raising for, 25 years. I guess it's like the 25th anniversary now. Yeah, 2023 plus the 5, yeah. Um, maybe they wanted to showcase you could build a snowman. You know what? I bet there's not even gonna be snowman building. I bet it's just gonna be, like something in the background. If we could build snowmen, it would be kind of interesting, like how we build snowmen in like Animal Crossing. You build up the snowballs and then you make it into a snowman. Wild animal taming would be so cool. Yes, but also, Pioneers of Olive Town had animal taming, but I hated I hated the way the animal taming worked in Pioneers of Olive Town. I don't know, maybe you guys can tell me, what did you guys think of animal taming in Pioneers of Olive Town? But for me, like I hated it because it's like now every playthrough you have to raise one of each animal because they're just like given to you. So you don't have that feeling of like the fact that you just like walk up to them and then you just tame them immediately. Like for me, like I hated it. um they really could have done so much more with animal taming. A seasonal snowman friend made by Muku Muku. um yeah, so it'll be interesting to see, like, are they gonna do anything with it? But yeah, I think, as I said about some other games, like I think animal taming, it's a good idea, but they just haven't really fully worked out what we've seen in games so far. Like that's not it. Because yeah, that was one of my several complaints about Pioneers of Olive Town. Although that being said, like I do like Olive Town. Sometimes I'll rag on it a little bit, but I do like it. It's just I don't love it. Like, if it had fixed some of its problems, I could get to that. You know, I feel like Olive Town, like if it was more polished and they just changed a few things, like it could be a really great game. But yeah, it's got a few like kinks in it. Um, so yeah, there's not really much to talk about with that trailer. Which does anybody else think it's funny that I do kind of wonder, like, if it was almost like Story of Seasons is like getting at the new Harvest Moon games, where it's like, we don't even have a title for our game yet, but here's a gameplay trailer. Whereas with the Winds of Anthos, we still don't have a trailer. We still don't have a trailer for the Winds of Anthos, and you can pre-order it. Kind of crazy. Ooh, someone never played Pioneers of Olive Town. Sounds like they need to improve a bit on its concepts. Yeah, I mean, I feel like Pioneers of Olive Town, like there is fun to be had, but yeah, it's one of those games where you're not gonna like everything about it. There's gonna be a few things where you're kinda like, "Ooh, that was probably not the best gameplay decision to make." The one thing I will say about Pioneers of Alton I really do like, though, is, like, the leveling up system. Animal taming, like in Tree of Tranquility, where it takes days of commitment to being friends. Yeah, see, I would like that as well. Like maybe different wild animals, like different fruits or vegetables, and then you have to try to get those and give them to them, and then they slowly get closer to you. But at least with Winds of Anthos, there is a lot of screens that show off a bit. Yeah, and I do think some of like the screenshots of Winds of Anthos, like they make it look really good. And like that tiny goddess, she's really cute. We've seen 4 of the marriage candidates, but yeah, it's gonna be really interesting when we finally get to see the gameplay in action. Somebody asked my favorite Story of Seasons game. Does that mean I can only choose games after it became Story of Seasons? Like I can't choose the old Harvest Moon games? If that were the case, I don't know. It's hard. So like the whole series, I probably would choose Harvest Moon 64. Um, Harvest Moon 64, like I just loved it. When I played it, I got sucked into it. And even to today, like I feel like some of the Easter eggs and just like the core gameplay of Harvest Moon 64, like that was like perfect. It was really, really good. If they could just build off of Harvest Moon 64, like I would just love it. 64 all day. How do you feel about having character portraits? Really hope they bring them back for the next installment. 64 was number one. Yeah, I really loved Harvest Moon 64. And so, yeah, that's why when I played Back to Nature, I was like, oof, not quite as good as 64. There's so many people that care a lot about character portraits. I don't really care personally. I mean, yes, I do kind of like them. Like in some of the games, it's used very well, and it's really cool because you can see like how the characters are reacting. But me personally, like I don't really care about character portraits so much. Friends of Mineral Town will always be my favorite. Harvest Moon 64 is the best if they ever remake it. I hope they don't fix anything. Um, well, yeah, I mean, I personally would like to see a few slight changes to 64, like being able to choose to be a male or female farmer, having like 5 bachelors. Um, and then I don't know. For me, Harvest Moon 64, it could also be better if it lasted a bit longer. Like your child would grow up just a little bit more. Maybe both companies knew each other was a next gen game, wanted to beat the other to the punch. Yeah, so yeah, I feel like Story of Seasons and Harvest Moon right now, they got this rivalry going around. So I'd totally marry the shady salesman. Well, yeah, that's the thing about Harvest Moon 64 as well, is that I actually forgot about this until recently, but there's like a lot of like unique, strange characters that you can only find in like really strange ways. Like there's some like teenagers who will only go to a certain events. You can only see them at those events. And then yeah, there's like a shady salesman. There's a whole bunch of like things to discover in Harvest Moon 64. But I don't know. I do feel like that's kind of also like a relic of that era where in the 64 PlayStation era, it was like games, you would have to like play them on your own and try to find all the things without like looking stuff up online. I mean, don't fix the glitches. Harvest Moon 64. Yeah. The glitches kind of did give it a little bit more personality, I think. I love hate with Magical Melody coming after the masterpiece of Wonderful Life with its more gritty art style. Magical Melody was too chibi. Yeah, I mean, I personally really liked Magical Melody, except for like to me, yeah, it is a chibi style, but it's not like too much of a chibi style. Like for me, the Story of Seasons Friends of Mineral Town remake, it was a little bit too cutesy for my taste. I thought Magical Melody, like it still did like a good balance of not being too cutesy, but then also not being well, obviously it wasn't gritty. But I thought it was a good balance. But yeah, Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town, it was a little bit too cutesy for me. Plus, like in Magical Melody, I thought they looked funny. like they looked like kind of like cube-esque, and I thought it was funny. Yeah, I agree. Friends of Mineral Town remake is way too cutesy. The chibi style was hilarious. But yeah, to me, Magical Melody, there were so many things in it that were like funny. So when I played through Magical Melody, like, I was laughing at some of the voice acting that they had in the game. Some of the characters look ridiculous. They do ridiculous things. I've talked about that in a few videos as well, and I've seen a few comments mentioning that as well. That in previous games, like the characters had a bit more of like a sharp personality. Like, some people were rude, some people were kind of like sassy. I really miss that type of edge to some of the characters. Would love an update on Magical Melody's style if they were to remake it. Dan's voice. Yes, so many of the voices in Magical Melody are just so funny. And that was one of the last few games where it was like characters would be like straight up mean to you. Because in the GameCube era, like there was still kind of like that that 90s feel of people, can be really rude and it's kind of funny. So yeah, I really thought that because in that game, Jamie, like he starts out hating you. Or I guess I should say they, since Jamie could be like a male or female, depending on the gender you choose as your farmer. But yeah, Jamie is a whole nother thing. That's why I'm curious if they would ever remake Magical Melody because of Jamie. Like, I'm not sure how they would adapt Jamie nowadays and not get in trouble for it one way or the other. Like old AC with the snooty and cranky villagers. Yeah, in Animal Crossing, like the mean villagers, they're not even mean anymore. So it's like, what's the point of even having them? I think Animal Crossing going forward, they should just choose different personalities. I do think that like if you played the GameCube one, yeah, that GameCube Animal Crossing villagers were brutal. They were almost a little bit too mean because some of them they would like call you fat, they'd call you ugly, they'd call you lazy, like they would like go in. All the previous Harvest Moon games, they were never that bad. They were just a little bit sassy. I wish they were still able to keep some of that sass in some of their newer games. Whereas like Pioneers of Town, I feel like most of the characters they're just a little bit too boring. It'd be fun with a few people to like rile things up. Someone truly scared of some of them. They had no chill. Yeah, some of the Animal Crossing characters they took it too far. So yeah, I don't think we'll ever get those truly brutal villagers back in the Animal Crossing series. Apollo from the OG game really sticks with me. It's funny because for me, like I played those games back then, and I didn't really remember that. It wasn't until recently that some people were talking about it, and I saw some things they said, and then even for me, like I went back and I played it a little bit, and I was like, dang, they were right. I didn't remember these characters being this mean. I think because back then, like I just took it as like funny. It was a different time. Yeah, it definitely was a different time. It's funny how like at the time when we would watch something, we wouldn't like see things the same way we see them now. Whereas now when we go back and we look at the same things, it's kind of like, oof, that didn't age so well. I was thinking of Apollo specifically. Yeah, some of the characters a little bit too far. So yeah, I don't think we're ever going to see a port of the GameCube version of Animal Crossing. But yeah, Nintendo's really worked hard to make things more family friendly, that type of thing. So yeah, I don't think that the next Story of Seasons game, I don't think they're going to have characters that are mean like that, but I hope they at least have characters that are at least a little bit sassy, at least a little bit snarky. Because yeah, sometimes when you play the older games, it's like they just have a little more personality. You don't want everyone to just be friendly and nice and no different types of personalities. So yeah, with Animal Crossing as well, I hope like in the future they just completely redo those older personality types and make them into something interesting. Give me that Karen drama and some properly done meanderies. Yeah, so I really hope there are people who like start things up. They need a few sassy characters to keep it interesting for sure. Yeah. So yeah, I don't want it just to be like everybody in the town, they all just get along and everyone's happy and everything's perfect. I want it to be just a little bit of something under the little bit something happening, some tension. I guess like two towns when you play that game, like at least there's some tension between the two towns. You know, like they're competing with each other, and so they have like town rivalry. Like at least it's something. At least it's some type of tension. um, Not like Pioneers of All Town, where it's just like everybody's just happy in the village. And I think Pioneers of All Town, like the issue is that like a lot of the characters they don't have like relationships with the other people. You know, like when you're playing even the Friends of Mineral Town remake, it's like you know people will make reference to how they don't like a certain character because of a certain reason. And yeah, stuff like that keeps the game interesting. Whereas in a lot of the games now, Alan from A New Beginning is a little too mean, in my honest opinion. See, A New Beginning, I just played a tiny bit, so yeah, I can't. I can't say if he was too mean or not. But I mean, come on, I want there to be some type of tension, some type of like, you know, something interesting happening to, you know, keep it more interesting. But I will say that like since I've been playing One World recently, like I am sometimes surprised at some of the dialogue that they let slip in. Because as I said, you know, earlier in this live stream, where I was like surprised about some of the things in One World because I don't really understand who the market audience is. Sometimes they'll slip like jokes in there that are a little bit like I'm just like, wow. I mean, I guess it would go over a kid's head, but it could be fun if there were rivalries and you could either help them to get along, or like in Rune Factory, you could get a divorced couple back together. Yeah, see, I would love stuff like that. Actually, just recently, I played through all of like the I don't know if you guys know Telltale games, where those games it's like you the Walking Dead ones. It's like you meet different survivors, and then you kind of have to like build relationships with them depending on how you respond to different dialogue, and then you can also like save the lives of different characters. I would love it if there was a story of seasons game where it was kind of like that. Maybe not that extreme, obviously, but if you could like choose who you want to become friends with, and then becoming friends with certain people makes other people not like you. Because yeah, in the Telltale games, it's always like the wolf one was great too. Yeah, in the Telltale games, it's always like, you know, if you play through it blind, you're always like, oof, I don't know if I say this, is this person gonna hate me? But then like they force you to choose between this character and that character. And you know, you can't have it both ways. Playing Tree of Towns, and the dialogues are nice. They acknowledge that there was a storm outside and scolded me for running around in it. I married Kurt from Magical Melody because he was mean. But yeah, so actually, I played The Walking Dead Telltale games 1 and 2 a long time ago, and I just recently played through 3 and 4, and I was actually a tiny bit disappointed. 3 I thought was okay, but 4 as the ending to the series, I don't know. I was a little bit disappointed, honestly. Like as a whole, I really love the series, but I feel like it had a lot of potential, and it didn't quite like meet all of that potential. Especially after season 1. Like I feel like season 1 was like a really good start, but then um, it got lost a little bit along the way. But I do know like there's a bunch of like problems at the Telltale studio, so technically probably wasn't all their fault. It was also like you know, money problems or management problems or something. Because in case you didn't know, like Telltale Games, they went out of business as they were making the final series. I think the second season was in the company closed. So actually, because I was playing the games, like usually what I'll do when I'm playing a game is like I'll also like research about the game and their development. So season 1 was like, you know, a certain set of writers and developers, but then when they got to season 2, the first episode was written by the original writers, but then there was some type of fight about money or something like that. And so after episode 1, then from episode 2 on, it was a different set of writers. But the studio stayed around until season 4, and then that was when the studio closed down. And then it got really messy. They were bought out by another studio, and then they kind of like the rights were bought out by another company. and then a bunch of the developers they end up going to another place, and now they're kind of back. But yeah, it's a long, complicated story. I did not know that they went under. I thought they were successful. Well, yeah, that's the thing about video game developers is like some of them like you think that they're doing fine, but there's a lot of problems behind the scenes. For me, I was really shocked when Lionhead Studios, like the people who made Fable, I was shocked that they went under because the Fable games were huge. And then the company that made them went under. I was just like, what? Also, they were owned by Microsoft. How can they run out of money? But yeah, I don't know exactly what the issues with Telltale were, but they went under, and now they're kind of back. I forget. I remember I saw recently they're working on a new game, but I forgot what it was. I legit have been playing Fable the past week. Yeah, I really liked Fable 1 and 2. Well, I started with 2, and 2 like was really good, but and then when I went back to play 1, I was like, Fable 1 is just like exactly the same as 2. I'm excited for the Fable reboot. I hope it's good. Yeah, I'll also be watching that to see how it turns out. Actually, honestly, I wasn't the biggest fan of like the combat in the Fable games. I did like the magic spells you can cast. Um, and I wish like the marriage and like the dating parts of it, I wish they were a little bit more like in depth. But they were one of the first games to have like same gender relationships. So Peter killed Lionhead. Well, yeah, Peter, it was funny because he was like a huge name. And I remember we would always like watch things and he would always like promise the moon. Like, oh yeah, the next game's gonna have this and it's gonna have that. And then when the game came out, you'd be lucky to have like one or two of the features that he talked about. Or they would just kind of like not really be fully implemented, that type of thing. He was very public and overpromised. Yeah, he really liked to hype up his games, get people really excited about it. But yeah, I mean, if you played Fable 1, 2, and 3, it was kind of like it's a great game, but I don't feel like the series really progressed as much as it could have. And yeah, I personally didn't really fully love the like the aspect they went with in 3, where it's like you become the king and then you take care of like a whole country. Which I think the idea is okay, but like in Fable, it just felt a little bit weird for me. So yeah, 2 was always my favorite. But yeah, I could be slightly biased because that was the first one that I played. After replaying them, 2 is definitely the best and most polished. Yeah, and so because I played 2 first and it was like super polished and it was really good. Oh my gosh, 2, you know how you have your dog with you? And then I remember, like, I don't remember everything perfectly, but I do remember, like, in the end of Fable 2, it's like you can choose whether you wanna save your dog or not. And I was just like, "Come on, of course I have to save my dog." Because yeah, that the dog, it, like, helps you out so much. 3 escape with a king queen, but it feels so rushed. Well, yeah, Peter, he would always rush his games, so that's not very surprising to me. Oh my god, why would they make you choose? I can't remember exactly what happens at the end of 2, but I do know that, like, when you're playing the Fable games, it's like there's a good side and an evil side, and it's like all of your actions, they will, lead into, like, either the good side or the evil side. Yes, they added a DLC so you could get the dog back without having to sacrifice everyone. But yeah, I think it's something like you can choose between saving your dog or saving, like, a whole bunch of people. But, it's hard because, like, you're with the dog the whole game, and he's so nice, and, like, he gets so close, so it's like, ugh, my dog or the rest of the world. The first Fable was my favorite music. Mm. Yeah, I didn't play Fable 1 so much. It's hard to go back in video game series. At least I don't know if you guys also agree with this or not. But for me, it's like wherever you start in the series, it's really difficult to go back. Sometimes it's okay, but hopefully the series will have progressed as time goes on. So then to go back, it's like you're going backwards and it's not as fun. Save dog and family, save the people, or have lots of money are the 3 choices. Yeah, it's like, who would choose to have a lot of money? They were screening for serial killers. But yeah, I really like games where it's like they include like, moral dilemmas. So that's what I was talking about. Like, I like the, Telltale games because there's a lot of like moral choices that you can make, and Fable was a lot about that too. Like you would run across bad people, and then it's like, do you want to reason with them? Do you want to just kill them? Like the whole game, you always had those choices. Also, by end game, if you don't already have a lot of money, it's kind of useless. Yeah. um, have you played Undertale? So I think Undertale, it's like an indie game where it's like a JRPG. Yeah, I bought Undertale and I started playing it, but I never really got very far in it. Um, I like some of the ideas in it, but I can't remember exactly what. I can't remember why I stopped playing it. I know, like in the game, it's supposed to be like you can play the whole game as a pacifist, um, but I think there was one boss maybe that annoyed me with the way they talked to me. Well, it was like the game knew that I went back to try to save them or something like that. Because like that game is deep. Like they keep track of everything that you're doing. But then I read online, I never finished it either. I read online that it's like you can't get like a true pacifist ending until you do New Game Plus. And then once I read that, I was just like, what? I don't have to play through this game twice. There was another DS game that was kind of like that as well. I think it was called like Valkyrie Profile. Um, in that game, it's like you can choose whether you want to sacrifice your characters, and for like every character of yours that you sacrifice, you get like special powers. And so, of course, I was just like, "Dang, I don't want to, kill any of my characters just to get some special powers." So, yeah. But then, yeah, in the beginning of that game, one of the first characters, you have to end up sacrificing them. So that game as well, like you have to do New Game Plus before you can get like the best ending. Which I'm not really a fan of that gameplay. What do you say? Dynamic either, where you have to do New Game Plus to do certain things. Although I guess they want to just be like extra things, but um, so yeah, I mean, somebody had also asked about like the indie games. I was interested. I think there was a couple of others that I was looking at. I'm trying to remember what the other ones were. Well, I don't know if you guys saw Roots of Pacha. It finally got put back up on Steam. If you watched my recent video about how they got taken down because there was a fight between the developer and the publisher. Well, they sorted it out, and now the game is supposed to be back on Steam. But yeah, they ended up deciding to part ways. So Soda Den is the name of the developer, and then the publisher is Critivo. They I guess they sorted out their issues and they put the game back on Steam, but they said that they're parting ways and they're not going to work together ever again. So part ways is certainly a way to put it. um, yeah, so actually, even for me, when I read it, I was kind of like, oof. Like, it does not feel like they smoothed over everything. Like, to me, the best ending would have been if they had come out and been like, we worked out our issues and everything's fine. And then just in the future, they just secretly never work together again. But the fact that in this, like, hey, everything's fine letter, they say we're going to part ways immediately. But yeah, I don't think we'll ever know 100% of what happened behind the scenes at Roots of Pacha. But yeah, I do feel like it's kind of a bad look. It's a bad look for both the developers and the publishers because, we don't really know. We don't know what contract they signed. Was it an unfair contract? But, also they signed the contract. So I don't know. I am still kind of interested in Roots of Pacha though. So yeah, I'm still on the fence about whether to get that or not. I wonder if people are going to make mods slash DLC for A Wonderful Life on PC. Yeah, The game looked cute from what I've seen. Yeah, Pacha, it looks really cute. Yeah, I do wonder if, I don't know, do the past Harvest Moon and Story of Seasons games, do they have DLC if you buy it on Steam? Well, not DLC, like mods and things like that. Actually, I keep meaning to get, Stardew Valley as well and play, like, expanded Stardew Valley. Probably wait till there's, like, a sale for Stardew Valley because I already bought the game on Switch. Um, but yeah, that is one big plus to getting a game on PC is then you can just, you can play mods and things like that. Although, I don't know, for me, it's hard to, like, find good mods that aren't gonna mess up the game. Um, yeah, 'cause I have sometimes when you download a mod, then it's like the game doesn't work properly, and then you have to redo things. But I guess you always have to have, like, mods that are from the most recent patch, otherwise they're gonna, like, fight with each other. But right, I want mods to enhance the game, not change it. Um, yeah, I wish there were more mods for, like, make Harvest Moon 64 a little bit different, to add bachelors, things like that. Yeah, I mostly use mods for upscaled textures. Ooh, big money spender right here, got a good PC. Um, I'm always just like, "Oh, I hope that this game will play on my on my Mac." Just crossing my fingers, be like, "Oh." So it's funny because I guess this is like a remnant of me when I was a kid, but when I was a kid, we always had a PC, but it was always kind of like a slower PC, like, it wasn't a gaming PC, and so every time I would see a trailer for, like, a really good looking game, I would just be like, "No, it's not gonna work on my PC." And then I'd be like, "Oh, I really hope they release, like, a low res version of it." Actually, when the World of Warcraft first came out, that was my thoughts. I'm fortunate my boyfriend is a computer guy. I never had a PC of my own. Ah, see, there you go. Um, so yeah, as a kid, if I saw graphics that looked too good, fear. Uh, our family computers with all LimeWire viruses. The only functionality mods for Stardew I have are for convenience. I do want to check out Expanded sometime though. Yeah, so for the Stardew Valley mods, like I know there's one where like for Halloween they all wear special they all wear special costumes. And then I've seen there's one where it's like they add a bachelor and a bachelorette, things like that. Because I don't know, once you play the same game, so many times, it's interesting to mix it up a bit for another playthrough. LimeWire, the good old days. I don't know, the good old days. I remember getting on AOL, hearing that terrible noise every time I wanted to get on, and then it would like block people from calling us, or people would call us and we'd get knocked off. Now we just take the internet for granted. Um, but yeah, I mean, it was fun. Mom, get off the phone. Yeah, my mom would get upset with us because she would be like, somebody was supposed to call me this afternoon, and they said they tried to call. Mom, don't pick up the phone. Yeah, I mean, I was like I was gonna say I was like a loser. I remember I would go to AOL chat rooms, and some of them I would do like role playing. So one of them I even role played Harvest Moon 64. We all like picked a character or two characters because back then you could choose the color of your text. So we would all have like two different characters that we were role playing as, and then whoever you were playing as, you would like change the color of the text so that way everyone knew who it was. Gosh, those were the days. Do you remember the buzz sound for the speakers whenever text message would come through? Uh, oh my god, I used to do the same, but for Final Fantasy 10 characters. Wow. But yeah, so when you're doing those role playing things and then somebody calls and knocks you off the internet, oof, rough times. um, yeah, I loved it though. It was definitely a time to be alive, I'll tell you that. And then sometimes going into like random chat rooms and trying to talk to people. But then when they found out that you were only like 12, they'd be like, get out of here, kid. I think the first few times I would go into those chat rooms, I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm 12 years old." Um, and then I quickly realized I cannot say that I'm 12 years old because people kick me right out there. I also used to LARP in my backyard. Wow. I mean, I guess the closest to LARPing I did was, I did Dungeons& and Dragons for a little bit. When I was in Dalian, I knew some people who were doing D&D, so I joined one of their, like, new, journeys or whatever they call them. But, I would always just drink. And one time they got really upset with me because, I was a little bit too, like, I've had a few too many beers. And then they said I acted out of character. It was really funny because I didn't fully remember everything that happened that night, but it was like we captured some kobolds, and I guess for some reason I decided I want to become best friends with this kobold. So like as we were interrogating them, they're like, okay, roll the dice and we'll see if like he'll be your friend. And I got a 20. And they're like, but your character's supposed to be evil. You can't become friends with kobolds. And then after that, I was just like, you know what? This is too much for me. um, Side note though, yeah, I do kind of want to see the Dungeons and Dragons movies. You were just role playing as the drunkard. Every great campaign has to have one. Yeah, but there's different personalities, and the person who was the dungeon master, he was crazy. Like he was like obsessive about every single detail of the game, obsessed about people staying in character. He wrote his own storyline that we were supposed to be going through. And so like, he wanted us to go through it in a certain way. Um, yeah, it just was not he was not having a drunk, he was not having a drunk person in that party. Yeah, it was more basic. I would hide keys and stuff around and pretend we were solving puzzles. The morality system is too strict. If you're playing role playing, you should be allowed to adapt. Yeah, but it's like, when you're playing Dungeons and Dragons, it's like you have to choose like lawful good or chaotic evil, or he cannot handle a spicy character. Uh, yeah, in my 20s, I was extra spicy. Some people on my recent videos, they'd be like, "Oh, you're so zesty." It's like, oof, you should have seen me go into the club in the 20s. Uh, yeah, after a few drinks, I would always be like super, super sassy. Because, like, if I don't drink at all, like, I'll just be really polite and nice. But maybe in the back of my head, maybe I'll like think a few things. And then a few drinks, and it's like, boo, coming out. My friends tried to get me to play D&D, and it was too complicated. Um, yeah, it's a lot. And some people, it also really highly depends on who you're playing with. Some people, they'll just be more like lenient, and you can do whatever. And then some people, like, they'll take out the book and they'll be like, well, you can't do that because XYZ. I still go to the club. Oof, I cannot. um, yeah, I have not been to well, actually in America, I've never been to I guess that's not true. I guess I've been to like one or two clubs in America, but hardly ever. But when I was in China, everything was really cheap, so I would sometimes go to the club in China. Those people with the rule book are what we call fun suckers. No, it was so well, yeah, playing Dungeons& and Dragons with them was, really annoying because the one guy, he would always try to find, like, loopholes, and the other guy would always try to fight him on it, and so we wouldn't actually be playing, we'd just be sitting there waiting for these 2 people to, like, decide who is following the rule book closer. Fun suckers. Too much drama at bars and clubs nowadays. Um, yeah, I'm glad. See, for me, I'm glad I lived in my 20s, so that way in my 30s I can just be boring and stay at home and play farming sims. I definitely lived in my 20s. Actually, that's part of the reason why I started my YouTube channel. Originally, I wanted to start a YouTube channel and talk about all the crazy things I did in my 20s, from my life in China to my dating life, all that crazy stuff that I did. But yeah, then once my farming sim videos did well, I was like, okay, let's talk about farming sims. Well, that explains why you drank while you played with them. But yeah, for me, like my personality type is INFJ. I don't like to get bogged down with details. I just like to like even for me in my videos, like I don't like to have like I just like brainstorm before I do the video. And then as I'm doing the video, I kind of like get a feel and then go in that direction because like I'm more like intuitive. I'm not really super it has to be this. So when I'm around people like that, yeah, I don't have the best time. My favorite character I had in D&D was a cat human who would look people in the eye and push their drink off the table. Wow. I was a wild child in my 20s too. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't have, my 20s filmed on camera. I'm here for both. Yeah, there was a few people who, like, after I started switching to pure gaming content, they were like, "Oh, why don't you do, more vlogs like you used to?" And then I remember like around the time I got monetized, I was always thinking like, okay, I'm gonna start a second channel, and then on that second channel, I'm just gonna do vlogs and stuff like that. But I don't know, because but then I was like, well, I finally went through all this work to get monetized, so it doesn't really make sense to start a second channel immediately. I might as well just keep doing gaming content, and then like in the future, maybe sometimes I'll start a second channel. I do think it would be interesting for me now to try to do a vlog because I definitely would do it better and different than I used to do it. Because yeah, my first few videos were like terrible editing, terrible pacing. I really struggled in the beginning with YouTube, but like I was, for a while I was doing a video a day. So when you do something every single day, you're definitely going to get better at it. So yeah, if I ever went back to trying to do vlogs or like a story type thing, I think it would be a lot different. Hopefully, a lot better than I used to do them. The type of game master that would not handle is if you once you saw the enemy and then rolled and won. Some of my 20s is deaf on camera without X's. Am I right? After watching Will Wheaton play D&D on TV, I wanted to try it out, but nobody to play with around these parts. Yeah. Well, that's the other thing is like I actually even thought about after moving back to America, like would I try to find a D&D group? But yeah, I never did. Because it would be hard to find like because you want it to be people that you're friends with, people who are cool. But it's really hard to find a group that you would like mesh well with. Um, but yeah, like some of my videos, like my original ideas were to tell like all of my well actually even before my YouTube channel I was going to write a book, if you can imagine that. I was going to write a book about I even started it actually. I was going to write a book about all my dating experiences in China. So I even had like I wrote the first chapter. I think I started writing the second chapter and I even had like an outline of all of the rest of the book that I was going to write. Because I was like, okay, I don't want to forget about all my crazy exes, so I need to write this down. Actually, I wish, honestly, you have my attention. Uh, um, actually, I wish I had kept like a detailed diary. If I could go back and change almost one thing about my life, that's probably what I would have done. Actually, when I was really young, I did have a diary. But then I was too scared that somebody else would read it and know that I'm gay, so I ended up destroying my diary. But yeah, man, if I'd had a diary and I'd kept it through my 20s, would have been a gem. Actually, I think during different periods I might have like started one, but I was never able to keep up with it. But yeah, that definitely would have come in handy writing my book or starting a vlog channel. But I have a pretty decent memory, so yeah. If I ever do want to go back and finish that book or make a vlog channel, maybe I'll still use those stories. But yeah, I'm really glad I got all that out of my system in my 20s. Because I don't know about the rest of you guys, but for me, I didn't start dating until I was like 25, 26. Like it was pretty late. Especially in the LGBT community, to wait until your mid 20s to start dating. But then in that period of time, that I did date, from like 25 to 31, it was just like it was my high side hustle. Like I was always I took it like a job, This is gonna be the position of my life partner. Position of my life partner, the diary written and orchestrated. There's a movie. Yeah, sometimes I would imagine like, oh, what if I write a book, it does really well, and then somebody will make a movie about my life. Because I don't know if you guys used to remember, there was like that commercial for like the Marines or something like that, where they were like, if somebody wrote a story about your life, or if somebody wrote a movie about your life, would anybody watch it? And then I remember watching that and thinking, if it was written from my perspective, I think it could be a really interesting movie. And I didn't even need to join the Marines for that. Facebook is enough of a diary for me. I was a bit too vocal. I actually changed my Facebook name because I was worried that like employers would look it up and then see it. There was this one time when I was at work and one of my coworkers came up to me and she was like, "I know what you did this past weekend." And I was like, "Oh snap." I thought she was talking about like some guy that I hooked up with. So I was like really nervous my whole shift. And then after the shift, she came up again and she was like, "Yeah, look at you. You're in the club." And I was like, "Oh." After that, I was like, "Okay, I'm changing my name on Facebook. I'm here for like a live stream Farming Sims with story breaks mixed in. Make it a TV show, easier to binge and repeat." Ooh, but yeah, I mean, that's the thing about life. You never really know. You never really know where it's going to go. I didn't imagine that I would have a gaming channel a year ago, And now look, here we are doing a live stream. Question, why were you in China? So, I was part of the generation where it was like you have to go to college. So I went to college and I studied psychology, but my minor was in Chinese because I liked K-pop. Which my life story, it always kind of makes sense. Not 100% sense. At the time, I thought, okay, if I learned Chinese, then it probably should be easy to learn Korean later. So then, I studied in college for 4 years. And then after I graduated, I was like, I don't want to become a psychologist. I don't want to keep going to school. Because, like, I don't know about you guys, but for me, once I got through my 4 years of undergrad, I was just like, no more. I need to get out of here. And I wanted to learn a foreign language. So I applied to jobs teaching English in Korea and China because I knew I wasn't going to get into Japan because Japan was like high. It was really difficult. But at that time, like the economy was really bad. And so it was like a popular time for people going abroad to teach English. So I did not get that job in Korea. And I was so sad. But I did get an offer in China to teach English. So yeah, I was like, okay, well, I'd rather go to China and teach English than not go to Asia at all. So yeah, I went to China just like months after I graduated from undergrad, and ended up staying there for 10 years. My original plan was just to stay in China for like 1 or 2 years, and then go to Korea or Japan. But yeah, that didn't end up happening. 'Cause it's like, once you go somewhere, maybe you'll make some friends. And for a while, I was like, okay, well, I really want to. Do you speak Mandarin well? Yeah, I'm fluent in Mandarin. My spouse is Chinese, and we mostly just speak Chinese at home. And my last, well, so at home we just speak Chinese, and like I lived in China for 10 years. So yeah, I'm fluent in Mandarin now. And when I was there, so I was there for like 4 years, and I was like, okay, my Chinese is pretty good, but I want to take a test and I want to get like certified. So there's like a standardized Chinese test, and I took that test and I passed it. But then by that point, it was like I'd already had friends, and then I was dating, and I was just like, I don't want to leave China yet. But then my last few years in China, it was a bit of a mess because like China and America, the relationship is worse and worse. And you could really feel it. Like, it's really weird. If anyone's ever been an expat and lived abroad, um, you know, you really feel like the news, because everybody was always watching the news, and so they always have this opinion of you. And so when I went to China, people like loved America and loved Americans. But then the longer I was there, it was kind of stressful my last few years, honestly. Like taxi drivers, they'd always be like, why did Trump do this? Why did Trump do that? Do you think America and China are going to get in a fight? Another question: are you and your husband having kids? Ooh, it's coming personal time now. um, so for me in the past, like my dream, I don't know if this is every gay man's dream, but my dream was always that like I would have a kid that's biologically mine, and then my spouse would also be able to have a child that's biologically theirs. Um, and when I met my husband, he was divorced and he already had a daughter. Um, and then, after because we met and then we were engaged 3 months after we met, because we both were like, I know what I want and let's go get it. And then, you know, his daughter also came with us to America. So, like right now, we already have a daughter together. And then, depending on how things go, like money wise, I am here for Eli Lord. And then depending on how things money wise, like I would like to have a child through surrogacy, but we'll see if it's in the cards because that depends on like the economy, that type of thing. But yeah, actually, my husband he just got his CDL truck driving license, so he's going to be able to get a good job now. So one child already, and maybe in a year or two we'll start taking that next step to have a second child. Ooh, congrats to him. Yeah, he had to, and he doesn't speak English very well, so yeah, it was difficult for him to get that because well, like he thought that like being a truck driver is going to be really easy, but it's actually not. I don't know if any of you guys know how hard it is to become a truck driver, but it's like you have to be able to inspect everything, like in the engine, throughout the whole, you know, truck thingy, the truck and trailer. You have to know everything about all the parts of them, what could possibly go wrong with them, and then of course you have to know how to drive them. So it's really intense. So yeah, he actually went there to a school to study for like a month, and so it was just me and our daughter for like a month. Escape person. My dream was to never have kids. It's like get out of jail free card. I've never understood the desire. Um, for me, I have two brothers, and neither of them are going to have kids. So I don't know. Like I feel it's like some people they just have that desire of like they want to have a kid, and I've always kind of been one of those people. Also, the last school that I worked at when I was in China was a kindergarten, and especially working there, I was like, I want to have my own kid because I don't know, like kids are so fun. The truck thingy, getting technical. Yep, I only use the correct jargon. That sounds like tough work. Yeah, truck driving pays well, but you're on the road a lot. Um, well, yeah, actually, he's just going to be doing like a home nightly thing. Um, so that's good. He's not doing like over the road trucking just yet. Um, he's going to do the one where he gets to come home every night. But like yeah, just for now, he'll do that for a while and see how it goes because he's just going to be like delivering because like the goods there's some people who take the goods from wherever and they bring them to the warehouse, and then there's the other people who take it from the warehouse and then put it in the specific stores, and he's going to be doing that one initially. So but yeah, because he doesn't speak English, I had to go there with him to the interview and everything. My friend does the home nightly, still pays well, and he gets to be with his family every night. Yeah, like the pay is good because he had been working at Amazon before. Getting CDL is no joke. It's very hard. Yeah, it is. It's not easy. I was just hauling lumber. Ooh, hauling lumber. But then, yeah, like with truck driving, there's also like a bunch of different things you can get. Um, what do they call them? Not extensions, something like that. He doesn't have any of those yet, but he does have the where in China were you? When I was in China, I actually lived in two different areas. The first year, I was in a city called Guiyang, and it's in the south. So the food was really spicy. The people didn't speak Mandarin very well. Because in case you didn't know, like in China, there's a bunch of different dialects. And then actually, that's the reason why I only stayed there for 1 year, was because I want to learn standard Mandarin. I don't want to learn a dialect of Chinese because I feel like that would have been better for me. Like, because I was always kind of thinking about like my future career, where I was like, okay, if I speak Mandarin, then I can go home and keep using that ability. Whereas if I learn a dialect, it's just going to be next to useless. So then the last 9 years that I was in China, I was in Dalian, which is like northeastern China, kind of near North Korea. But it's on the China side. Um, and yeah, in case you didn't know, like the China North Korea border, it's not right there, but I did go there. It's like they don't let people just freely go back and forth. Um, it's actually really intense because there's like a bridge that connects North Korea and China, and like if people from North Korea try to swim to get to China, like they'll just unalive them in the water. So yeah, it's really intense. And then it was funny because like I went to the border and I was like talking to swim. Well, because some people, they try to leave North Korea. They I would talk to people like on the China side and be like, because obviously I didn't go to the North Korea side. Talk to people on the China side, and they would just be like, "Why would I ever go to North Korea?" That's kind of sad. Oh yeah, it is. It's really sad. And when you're there, actually, the name of the city is called Dandong. If you ever want to look it up, like Dandong. At nighttime, you can look out your hotel room, and it's like the China side. Everything is lit up. Everything's really built up. Everything's kind of beautiful. And then the North Korea side, there's like a single Ferris wheel, and everything's dark. Like everything's pitch black. A cricket. So yeah, like you cannot easily go between North Korea and China. That's creepy. But yeah, if you look up that city, you can see the change in it. Is YouTube your full time now, or do you teach Mandarin too? Um, well, I kind of insinuated this in a recent video. I mean, I guess technically right now I'm full time YouTube. I was actually just laid off of my last job because they offered to let me relocate, but like time wise relocating right now, like I don't want to relocate. So yeah, now I'm kind of like thinking about my next step. Um, yeah, they wanted me to move to a different city that's like 2.5 hours away. And they weren't going to give me any like bonus, like a relocation bonus or anything. So I was just like, nah. So now I'm looking for a new job. So yeah, actually my fallback is going to be teach English online, or yeah, maybe teach Mandarin, something like that. When I was in China, I did actually teach English and Mandarin. Thanks. Sorry, relocating is difficult on the whole family. I totally get that. Yeah, and just like time wise, because at that time, my husband, he was still at the training school to get a CDL. So it would have been just like a really bad time, and they were like, "You have to do it in 2 weeks," and I was like, "See you later." But yeah, I mean, you can kind of tell from my old videos, like I was never like in love with my past job, but I'm really thankful to it because like if I hadn't had that past job, I probably never would have started this YouTube channel. Girl, bye. Yeah, it was an easy decision for me. I mean, I'd kind of like because I mean, you guys know I was just sitting in the office making YouTube videos. Yeah, because they wanted to relocate the office somewhere else. And it was a hard no for me. Well, also because because I'm in the LGBT community, like I don't want to go anywhere that's too small. Um, I don't want to be in like an area where people might be more homophobic, like that type of thing. So for me, I mean, I always tell people like I'll move somewhere that's bluer, but I'm not going to move somewhere that's redder. Just because like I don't want to have to deal with that. I'd rather just live somewhere where I can just do my own thing and people don't give me a second glance. Um, so I don't want to move somewhere new, and then there's the risk of things being awkward. I mean, it's funny because my husband, he doesn't really care. He just cares the most about like a job, being stable. He doesn't really care about the politics that much. But for me, I really care about it. Completely fair. I grew up in a small town. Yeah, I also grew up in a small town, like the town that. Well, I mean, we moved around a bit, but the last place that we were in, it was only like 30,000 people. So that's why I stayed in the closet when I was in high school. um, yeah, I did not come out in high school. Grew up in a small town. Yeah, I live in MA near Boston. And honestly, how things are going, I feel lucky to live here. Yeah, you've done your time. Well, I mean, I feel like that's such like the typical gay guy story is you grow up in a small town and then you're like, nah, I need to go to the big city so I can live my life. True though. I mean, where they wanted me to relocate, it's not like a small town, but yeah, just a whole bunch of reasons. I was like, no, because like in my state, I live in like the most liberal area. So, and I moved here intentionally, and go to theater school in the big city. um, yeah, I mean, when you're just going to the big city, you're like, I got to do whatever I can. I'm debating moving to Connecticut, like from Pittsburgh. I'm getting too old for the city life. Well, yeah, that's the other thing I was talking about is like I also wouldn't mind like a medium-sized city, maybe one that not many people know about. 100,000, something like that. But yeah, I don't want to live somewhere that's too small and it's like there's only like one or two stores to go to. Um, I need a big supermarket. I need that type of thing. Um, yes, the city I lived in recently was not the safest. Yeah, that's another big thing for me is how safe the place is. Where we live now, like there's the Kia boys who attack Kias, and I don't really like that. But I guess maybe that can happen anywhere. In case you guys didn't know, like Kia boys, they'll like break into Kia cars specifically, and people don't even care about it. Like people are just like, oh, whatever. I can't believe it. Being raised in Chicago, I can't go to small town. I'm so spoiled. St. Louis has the same Kia boy issue. Yeah, I think the Kia boy issue, like it's like a lot of places have it. So if you have a Kia, you better get a lock for your car. Yes, that's happening in some of the towns around me. Yeah, and you know what the issue is that like because a lot of the people who are doing it, they're like younger. So like if you're a minor and you do something like that, like apparently the judge, at least here where I live, like the judge, he'll just let them off with like nothing. Um, so like you can even like catch them, have the police arrest them, then they go to trial, and then the judge is just like, well, he's a minor and he's just having fun, so whatever. It's like, bro, we're out here struggling to be middle class. If somebody is breaking our car windows, how are we supposed to do that? Like, this is supposed to be the American dream. So how can you like work hard, do everything right, and then because some kids think it's fun to like break your car windows, girl, do you know how much car windows are these days? Because it is not cheap. I got a lifted Chevy Silverado, no Kias. I guess right now the two big ones are Kia and Honda. These are the two cars the kids these days love to steal. But yeah, I don't know if you guys have ever had to go to the car maintenance places, but they're going to charge you an arm and a leg, and they're not going to care if it was a minor or if it was a grown adult that did it to your car. You're still going to have to pay real people money. When the riots were going on, people were breaking into stores, vandalizing. Yeah, so I don't know. For me, like, I don't know. It just feels really unfair. I think when something like that happens, like they should just do it for free. Like maybe the government should just pay it off. Or, but well, what should happen is like the parents of the minors that do it, they should have to pay for it. Um, so yeah, that was a rough thing. it felt like my Harvest Moon file got deleted in real life. Uh, riots last year. I don't know which riots those would have been. My tulips. My garden is my baby. I would go crazy. We'll see. At least you have a yard where you can grow them. They legit stole a bush. It's like the horse dies or something. Well, yeah, that's what I'm also wondering about with like the Winds of Anthos is are the animals still going to be dying in the game? Because I cannot believe in one world even your pets die. Initially, I thought it was just like your cows and things like that would die, but no, even your pets can die in one world. So I'm really curious if in the Winds of Anthos they're also going to have that same aspect. We came home and there's a giant hole where the bush was. Who steals a bush though? That's really weird. But yeah, vandalizing, like that's the thing that I understand the least. Because then it's like you don't even get the person who does it, they don't even get any money. They just like, make it suck more for someone else. Must be that Simpsons meme. I ransacked a bush. Wait, I guess like some like younger people maybe they just do it for like the thrill of it or something like that. I've never been like, dang, I'm so mad I'm gonna go steal this person's bush. Yeah, I don't even know how you would go about stealing a bush because like don't the roots go like really deep? That's what I said. Like of all things, like a bush, and it wasn't even a flower that you want. Although he did leave the roses alone. Oh, that's good. See, it'd be nice to have like a nice little rose garden, something like that. But yeah, guys, I guess I have like maybe like 10 more minutes, and then I'm gonna have to get off. They said no to the thorns. Yeah. But also, like now, I'm curious, like how big is this bush that they stole? But also, it's like were the roses in bloom? Because if the roses were in bloom, then it's like, wow, I'm surprised that the roses didn't get stolen. Miss Rose protected herself. But yeah, vandalizing, I don't get it. This stream took an interesting turn and I'm loving it. Yeah, we're supposed to be talking about the 2 Story of Seasons games. Now we've talked about China, rose bushes. Why get flowers when you can get a whole bush? It was a sizable bush. I'm about 5'4", and it was up to my hip. Ooh, 5'4". But yeah, this kind of sounds like it's a decently sized bush. Yeah, I guess if it was like a bush that has flowers on it, then I'm small. Oh, he's doing the dishes in the background. He was actually getting some water in the background. That's what that was. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's time for me to go, y'all. Probably start. I think it's in the past. Like I'm gonna try to download like streaming software so I can do like a like a gaming live stream, that type of thing. Maybe later I'll make like a poll about maybe later I'll make like a poll about which game I should live stream first. Don't go find it. You're super cute. Thank you for saying I'm cute. Okay, someone's doing the words for Fergalicious. Well, yeah, I had a really good time talking to you all today. Probably do another live stream soon. Yeah, like I said, I'm going to try to download the software and get more like high tech with it. Actually, on this Mac, I've had to use Chrome. For some reason, Safari doesn't even support So I'm gonna try to like download the live stream software and then get a little more high tech with my next stream. But yeah, thank you all for attending this live stream. It's been great, y'all. But yeah, I have to go. So have a good day, everybody. Have a good weekend. Yeah. See y'all.